The champagne cork hit the ceiling of our living room at exactly 6:45 p.m., and I knew something was wrong. Not because of the cork. That was deliberate, celebratory even. It was the way my wife Emily flinched when it popped, her phone clattering onto the hardwood floor, her face draining of color before she quickly bent to retrieve it. "Congratulations, babe," I said, raising my glass toward her. "Regional director, my wife, the youngest regional director in the company's history." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Thanks, Jordan. It's a big deal." "Big deal? It's huge. I'm so proud of you." I moved closer, wrapping my arm around her waist. She stiffened slightly, then relaxed, leaning into me with what felt like effort. "The kids are going to flip when they hear. Where are they anyway?" "Madison's at soccer practice until 8. Tyler's at Kevin's house working on that science project." Emily took a long sip of champagne, longer than necessary. "They won't be home for a while." I should have been thrilled. After 12 years of marriage, watching Emily climb the corporate ladder at Westfield Marketing Solutions while I managed our family's construction business, this promotion was the culmination of everything she'd worked toward. The late nights, the weekend conferences, the business trips, all of it finally paying off. But standing there in our Riverside, California home, the golden evening light streaming through the windows, I felt a cold weight settling in my stomach. "So when do you start the new position?" I asked, refilling both our glasses. 2 weeks. They want me to transition smoothly." She was looking at her phone again, her thumb hovering over the screen. "There's going to be some travel involved. More than before." "How much more?" "Maybe twice a month, sometimes for a week at a time." She finally looked up at me, and I saw something in her green eyes I couldn't quite place. Guilt? Fear? "Is that going to be a problem?" I forced a laugh. "Problem? You've earned this. We'll make it work like we always do. The kids and I will hold down the fort." She nodded, but her attention drifted back to her phone. It buzzed in her hand, and she quickly silenced it, but not before I caught a glimpse of the name on the screen. DG. "Who's DG?" I asked casually, taking a sip of champagne. Emily's hand tightened around her phone. "What?" "Oh, that's Derek Garrison. He's the VP of Operations. He was texting to congratulate me." "That's nice of him." I watched her face carefully. "I don't think you've mentioned him before." "Haven't I?" She moved away, walking toward the kitchen island where she'd left her laptop. "He's been with the company for about 8 months now. Came from the New York office. Really sharp guy. He's the one who pushed for my promotion, actually." The way she said, "sharp guy," made my jaw tighten. There was an admiration in her tone, a warmth that felt too familiar. "Well, I'd like to meet him sometime," I said. "Thank him for recognizing my wife's talent." "Maybe at the company holiday party," she replied quickly. Too quickly. "That's still 3 months away, though." Her phone buzzed again. Then again. She glanced at the screen, and a small smile played at the corners of her mouth before she caught herself and set the phone face down on the counter. "Lot of people congratulating you," I observed. "Yeah, word travels fast." She opened her laptop, her fingers flying across the keyboard. "I need to respond to some emails. Do you mind if we do dinner a little later? Maybe order in?" I minded. I minded very much. This was supposed to be a celebration, just the two of us before the kids got home. I'd planned to take her to Bella Vista, the Italian place where I'd proposed 13 years ago. I'd made reservations 2 weeks in advance, as soon as she'd told me the promotion announcement was coming. But I said, "Sure, no problem. I'll order from that Thai place you like." Perfect. She was already absorbed in her screen, her champagne forgotten. I walked to the kitchen, pulling out my phone to place the order, when I noticed Emily's phone lighting up repeatedly on the counter. She was in the powder room now. I could hear the water running. The screen showed 3 new messages, all from DG. I'm not a snooper. In 12 years of marriage, I'd never once gone through Emily's phone or email. We'd built our relationship on trust, on the foundation that we were partners in everything. But something in my gut was screaming at me that the woman I'd married, the mother of my children, the person I'd trusted with my entire life, was slipping away. The water was still running. My hand reached for her phone. It was unlocked. She must have forgotten to lock it when she set it down. The messages from DG filled the screen. Can't wait to celebrate properly tomorrow night. Tell me you're thinking about me right now. These next 2 weeks are going to kill me. Being so close to you all day and not being able to touch you? My vision blurred. The phone felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds in my hand. The water shut off in the bathroom, and I heard Emily's footsteps approaching. I set the phone down exactly where I'd found it, face down, and turned toward the refrigerator, pretending to search for something inside. My heart was hammering so hard I thought it might burst through my chest. Jordan, you okay? Emily's voice came from behind me. I grabbed a beer I didn't want, closed the refrigerator, and turned to face my wife with a smile that felt like broken glass on my face. Yeah, I said. Just perfect. I kept my smile locked in place as Emily returned from the bathroom, her phone clutched in her hand like a lifeline. The champagne had gone flat in my glass. You okay? She asked, settling back onto the couch with careful distance between us. Just thinking about how proud I am, I said. The words tasted like copper. This is huge for you. She relaxed slightly, that guilty tension in her shoulders easing. It really is. I still can't believe Derek, Mr. Garrison, went to bat for me like that. Mr. Garrison. The formality rang hollow after reading Can't Stop Thinking About Last Night. When do you start the transition? I asked, keeping my voice casual. Monday. 2 weeks of handoff with Patricia. Then I'm fully in the role. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, then flipped it face down on the cushion. After that, the travel schedule kicks in. Twice a month, you said? Yeah. Week-long trips, mostly to the regional offices. Chicago, Atlanta, Denver. She was already building her alibi, I realized, constructing the framework for absences that had nothing to do with work. That's a lot of time away from the kids. Something flickered across her face. Guilt, maybe, or annoyance that I'd mentioned them. I know, but the salary increase will help with college funds. Madison's only 4 years out from applications. Always a justification. Always a reason that made her the responsible one, the forward-thinking one. Right, I said. When's your first trip? 3 weeks. Chicago office needs a full operational review. The lie came smooth as silk. She'd probably practiced it. Her phone buzzed again. Then again. Popular night, I observed. Just the group chat. Everyone's excited about the promotion. She didn't reach for the phone. I stood, gathering our champagne glasses. I should check on the kids' pickup time. Soccer practice runs until 8, right? Yeah. Tyler texted earlier. Coach is running drills late. In the kitchen, I set the glasses down carefully, my hands steadier than I expected. Through the doorway, I watched Emily finally grab her phone, her thumbs flying across the screen. Her face softened as she read, a small smile playing at her lips. The kind of smile I hadn't seen directed at me in months. How long had I been missing these signs? I pulled out my own phone, opening a new note. Started documenting everything with timestamps. 6:47 p.m., multiple texts from DG, Emily's reaction, the lies about group chats. I'd need records, evidence. My construction business had taught me that documentation mattered, that assumptions meant nothing without proof. Jordan? Emily appeared in the kitchen doorway. I'm going to head up and shower. Long day. It was 7:15 p.m. She never showered before the kids got home. Sure, I said. I'll wait up for Madison and Tyler. She hesitated, like she wanted to say something else, then turned away. I heard her footsteps on the stairs, the bedroom door closing, the shower starting. I waited 30 seconds, then moved back to the living room. Her phone sat on the coffee table where she'd left it, still unlocked. The messages from DG had multiplied. Counting down the hours until tomorrow. 7 p.m., right? Wear that blue dress, the one from last time. Can't believe we have to be careful for 2 whole weeks. Worth it, though. My thumb hovered over the screen. I could confront her right now. March upstairs, throw the phone at her, demand answers. But I'd learned patience in business. Learned that rushing led to mistakes, that the best negotiations happened when you had all the information and your opponent had none. I opened my phone's camera, photographed each message, scrolled up through the conversation history, weeks of texts, increasingly intimate, references to hotels, inside jokes, plans coordinated around my construction site schedule. One message from 3 weeks ago. Jordan's in Sacramento until Thursday. My place. She'd told me she was having dinner with her sister that night. I photographed everything, my hands mechanical, my mind cataloging each piece of evidence. Then I closed her messaging app and returned her phone to exactly where she'd left it. The shower was still running upstairs. I pulled up my contact list, scrolled to Rick Paulson, my attorney, the one who'd handled the business incorporation and our house purchase. Typed out a message. Need to meet. Divorce consultation. Urgent but discreet. Can you do tomorrow afternoon? His response came within 2 minutes. 2 p.m. at my office. You okay? Will be, I typed back. The shower shut off. I deleted the text thread with Rick, cleared it from recently deleted, and opened a random news article on my phone. Emily came down 20 minutes later in yoga pants and an oversized sweatshirt, her hair wrapped in a towel. She'd put on makeup, just light foundation and mascara, but enough to notice. For a quiet evening at home. Right. The kids should be back soon, I said, not looking up from my phone. Yeah. She settled on the opposite end of the couch, maintaining that careful distance. Jordan, I wanted to talk to you about something. My stomach tightened. What's up? This promotion. It's going to mean changes, long hours, the travel. I need to know you're really okay with it. She was building her exit narrative, I realized. Setting up the story where the marriage fell apart because I couldn't handle her success. I'm proud of you, I said, and meant it in a twisted way. Proud that I'd married someone capable enough to lie this smoothly. We'll make it work. Relief washed over her face. Thank you. I know it's not ideal timing with Madison's college prep and Tyler's tournament season, but Emily, I cut her off gently. It's fine. Really, we're a team. The word team made her flinch just slightly. Headlights swept across the front windows, my mom's SUV dropping off the kids. Madison burst through the door first, already talking about her chemistry project, Tyler trailing behind with his soccer bag. Mom! Dad! Coach says I might start varsity next game. Tyler's face glowed with pride. Emily's mask slipped seamlessly into place. Devoted mother, engaged parent. She pulled Tyler into a hug, asked questions about practice, admired Madison's project notes. I watched her perform, this woman I'd shared 12 years with, and wondered which version had ever been real. Pizza for dinner? I suggested. Celebration night. Perfect, Emily said, already reaching for her phone to place the order. Her fingers hesitated over the screen, probably checking for new messages from DG. Then she opened the pizza app instead. The kids thundered upstairs to change. Emily ordered our usual, large pepperoni, medium veggie, domestic routine, comfortable patterns. The scaffolding of a normal life built over a foundation that had rotted through. Tomorrow night, she said casually, setting her phone down. I forgot to mention, the executive team is doing a dinner. Celebration for the promotion announcements. I'll probably be home late. There it was. The celebration DG had referenced. What time? I asked. Dinner's at 7. Probably home by 11? She wouldn't meet my eyes. Where at? That new place downtown. Meridian, I think. Another lie. She knew exactly where. Sounds nice, I said. You should wear that blue dress, the one you got last month. Her face went pale. Just for a second, but I caught it. Maybe, she said. It might be too formal. I always thought you looked beautiful in it. She forced a smile. Thanks. I'll think about it. The pizza arrived. We ate together at the kitchen table, the four of us, Madison talking about her friend's drama, Tyler demonstrating a new defensive move he'd learned. Emily laughed at the right moments, asked the right questions, played her part flawlessly. I played mine too. Supportive husband, proud father, man who had no idea his wife was counting down the hours until she could be in another man's arms. After dinner, after the kids finished homework and headed to bed, Emily and I sat in the living room with the TV on, some cooking competition neither of us watched. I'm exhausted, she said around 10 p.m. I think I'll head up. I'll be up soon. Want to finish this episode? She kissed my cheek, a dry, perfunctory touch, and disappeared upstairs. I waited until I heard the bedroom door close, then pulled out my phone and opened the photos I'd taken of her messages. Stared at them until the words blurred. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'd meet with Rick. Get the process started, understand my options. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Emily would meet Derek Garrison for their celebration, and I would be there too. The champagne tasted like acid on my tongue as I raised my glass one more time. To Emily, I said, forcing that smile to stay locked in place, the youngest regional director in company history. She clinched her glass against mine, and I watched the guilt flicker across her face like static on a television screen. The phone sat between us on the coffee table, screen dark now, holding all those secrets I wasn't supposed to know. I should probably start planning the logistics, Emily said, already reaching for the phone. The travel schedule is going to be intense. Right, twice a month. I kept my voice level, supportive. That's a lot of time away. It's the job. She was scrolling through something, not meeting my eyes. Derek, Mr. Garrison. He said the first few months are crucial for establishing relationships with the regional teams. Derek, Mr. Garrison. The careful correction made my stomach turn. When's your first trip? Week after next, Chicago office. The lie came so easily. I wondered how many others I'd swallowed whole over the past months. 3 days, maybe 4. I nodded, took another sip of champagne. My phone was in my pocket, heavy with those photographs. Evidence. Rick would know what to do with them. I'm going to grab Tyler from practice, I said, checking my watch. 7:23 p.m. Should be wrapping up soon. Emily looked up, surprised. I can get him. You organized this whole thing. You've had a long day. Besides, I need to swing by the Dawson site anyway. Check on the foundation pour from this morning. Another lie. The foundation was fine, but I needed to get out of this house, away from her guilty face and that phone full of poison. You're sweet. She stood up, kissed my cheek. Her perfume was different. When had she changed her perfume? Thank you for this, for being so supportive. The words should have meant something. A month ago, they would have. Now they just felt like sandpaper against raw skin. I grabbed my keys from the hook by the garage door. Text me if you need anything from the store. Will do. I sat in my truck in the driveway for a full minute before starting the engine, staring at the warm light spilling from our living room windows. Emily moved past them, phone pressed to her ear, laughing at something. I wondered if it was him. The soccer field was mostly empty when I pulled into the parking lot. Practice had ended 10 minutes early. Tyler was sitting on the bench with his coach, working on tying some complicated knot with his shoelaces. Dad! He jogged over, cleats clattering on the asphalt. Coach says I'm starting on Saturday. That's great, bud. I ruffled his hair, tried to find that genuine smile. For him, I could manage it. Your footwork's been paying off. Can we get Mighty Taco on the way home? I'm starving. Your mom made dinner. Please? She won't care. She's probably already working on her laptop anyway. The casual observation hit harder than it should have. Yeah, okay, Mighty Taco it is. We drove through the quiet streets of Riverside, Tyler chattering about the game on Saturday, about how Jacob Miller had totally whiffed an easy goal during practice, about how Mr. Patterson had assigned a project on the California gold rush that was due in 2 weeks. Normal life. The life that was about to detonate. Is Mom going to be traveling a lot now? Tyler asked between bites of his burrito. We'd parked in the Mighty Taco lot, eating in the truck like we used to when he was younger. Looks like it. Her new position requires it. That sucks. He wadded up his wrapper. Madison's going to college next year and now Mom's going to be gone all the time too. We'll manage. The words felt hollow. You've still got me. I know, it's just weird. He stared out the windshield at the neon sign. She's been different lately, distracted or something. Kids noticed everything. I'd forgotten that. New job stress, I said. It'll settle down. But it wouldn't. Not after tomorrow at 2 p.m. when I sat down with Rick Paulson and showed him those photographs. Not after whatever I decided to do at 7 p.m. when Emily thought she was meeting Derek for their celebration. We got home at 8:47 p.m. Emily was exactly where Tyler had predicted, at the kitchen island with her laptop open, barely looking up as we walked in. There's lasagna in the oven if you're hungry. We grabbed Mighty Taco, I said. She frowned. Jordan, I made dinner. Sorry, Tyler was starving and I figured you'd be working. The frown deepened, but she didn't push it. Fine. I've got calls with the East Coast team anyway. Time zones are going to be brutal. More lies? Or maybe not. Maybe she really did have calls. Maybe the affair was just one thread in the tapestry of her new life, the one that didn't include me anymore. Tyler headed upstairs to shower. I stood in the kitchen watching Emily type, her face illuminated by the laptop screen. She'd been beautiful when we met. Still was. 12 years of marriage, 2 kids, a house in Riverside with a view of the hills. It should have been enough. I'm meeting Rick tomorrow at 2, I said. Construction contract stuff for the Patterson development. She wasn't listening. Should be done by 4. I'll grab groceries on the way back. Sounds good? I could have told her I was planning to burn the house down, and she would have given me the same distracted response. My phone buzzed. Text from Rick. Got your message. 2 p.m. works. Bring everything. I'd called him from the parking lot at Tyler's practice, kept it vague. Need to discuss some personal legal matters. Divorce consultation. Rick had known me for 15 years, handled the business contracts, the property deals. His voice had gone quiet and professional. How soon can you come in? Tomorrow afternoon. I'll clear my schedule. Now I was standing in my kitchen, watching my wife plan her next rendezvous with her boss, and all I could think about was the timeline. 20 hours until I sat down with Rick. 22 until Emily's executive dinner with Derek Garrison. I needed a plan for 7 p.m. tomorrow. Something more than just showing up, more than confrontation. The anger was there, coiled tight in my chest, but underneath it was something colder. Calculation. She'd made a fool of me. Smiled to my face while planning her escapes, used her promotion, a promotion I'd celebrated, supported, cheered for, as cover for an affair with her married boss. The messages had made it clear. Derek had a wife too. 2 families about to be shredded because neither of them could keep their hands to themselves. I'm heading to bed, Emily said, closing her laptop. 9:15 p.m. Early conference call tomorrow. I'll be up soon. Want to finish this proposal? She paused at the bottom of the stairs. Jordan? Yeah? Thank you. For tonight. For understanding about the travel. Her voice was soft, almost vulnerable. I know it's a lot. It's your career, I said. I'm proud of you. The lie tasted worse than the champagne had. She smiled, a real smile this time, or close to it, and headed upstairs. I listened to her footsteps cross the bedroom floor, heard the bathroom door close, the shower start running. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through the photographs I'd taken. Message after message, each one a small detonation. Can't wait for tomorrow night. That blue dress drives me crazy. Tell Jordan you're working late again. My hands were steady as I forwarded them all to my personal email, then to a cloud storage account I'd set up years ago for business documents. Redundancy. Rick would appreciate that. The shower was still running upstairs. I opened my laptop and started searching. Buffalo dive bars. I had no idea why that popped into my head. We were in California, not New York, but something about the phrase stuck. Neighborhood places where people got sloppy, where secrets spilled out over cheap beer and bad decisions. Tomorrow night, Emily would walk into whatever restaurant Derek had chosen, expecting celebration, expecting him. I was going to make sure she got something else entirely. The morning came too fast. I'd spent most of the night in my home office cross-referencing Emily's calendar with the text messages I'd photographed, building a timeline that made my stomach turn. Every late meeting since her promotion 3 months ago lined up perfectly with gaps in Derek's own calendar, information helpfully visible in the company directory she'd left logged in on our shared iPad. By 6:47 a.m., I was already showered and dressed, sitting at the kitchen island with coffee and my laptop open to construction bid spreadsheets I wasn't actually reading. Emily came down at 7:15, already in her navy suit, the one she said made her feel powerful. "You're up early," she said, heading straight for the coffee maker. Couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about that Maple Street project. The lie came easier than I expected. Might need to rework the whole electrical plan. She made a sympathetic noise that didn't quite reach her eyes. Her phone was already in her hand, thumb scrolling. I watched her reflection in the darkened laptop screen, the slight smile that appeared, then vanished when she remembered I was there. "What time's your dinner tonight?" I asked, keeping my tone casual. Her hand tightened on the phone. 7. Probably run late, you know how these things go. Don't wait up. Which restaurant? What? She turned, and I saw the flash of panic before she controlled it. Just curious. Maybe I've worked on it. I took a sip of coffee, held her gaze over the rim. Oh, Meridian. That new place downtown? She was already moving toward the garage door. I've got an early meeting. Can you handle Tyler's pickup? Sure thing. The door closed behind her. I counted to 30, then pulled up Meridian's website. They didn't take reservations for parties under 6. And according to their Instagram story from last night, they were closed Tuesdays for a private event. She hadn't even bothered with a convincing lie. Rick Paulson's office was in a converted craftsman house on Market Street, all hardwood and built-in bookcases that probably cost more than my first truck. He was younger than I expected, maybe 40, with the kind of precise movements that suggested he didn't waste energy on anything unnecessary. Jordan. He shook my hand, gestured to a leather chair across from his desk. You said on the phone this was time-sensitive. I pulled out my phone, opened the folder of screenshots I'd organized by date. My wife's having an affair with her boss. I've got text messages, timeline correlations, and I need to know my options before she meets him tonight at 7. He took the phone, scrolled through the images without expression. When he looked up, his face was carefully neutral. This is solid evidence. How long have you known? Since yesterday. Found the messages during her promotion celebration. Something that might have been sympathy crossed his face. And you're here instead of confronting her. That shows restraint. I'm not feeling particularly restrained. I leaned forward. Her company has a fraternization policy. He's her direct supervisor. She just got promoted to regional director, youngest in company history, supposedly. But now I'm wondering if she actually earned it. Rick set the phone down, steepled his fingers. California is a no-fault divorce state. The affair doesn't impact the settlement directly. But if there's workplace misconduct, that could affect her employment, which would impact her earning potential, which does matter for support calculations. She makes more than me now, or she did as of last week. Then you'd potentially be entitled to spousal support. He pulled a legal pad closer. Tell me about assets, home ownership, vehicles, retirement accounts. We spent the next 40 minutes going through the financial architecture of 12 years of marriage. The house we'd bought when Madison was 2. The matching 401ks. Emily's stock options that had vested last quarter. My business, which I'd built from a 2-man operation to 15 employees. The college fund we'd been feeding since the kids were born. Here's what I recommend, Rick said finally. File first. Tomorrow, if possible. California requires 6 months before a divorce finalizes, but filing first gives you procedural advantages. We'll request full financial disclosure, and given the workplace relationship, we'll subpoena her company's HR records regarding the promotion timeline and any complaints or policy violations. What about tonight? He studied me. What about tonight? She's meeting him at 7. I know where. Jordan. Rick's voice went flat. Whatever you're thinking, I'm not going to hit him. Though the thought had crossed my mind more than once. But she's walking into that meeting thinking I'm clueless. I want her to know I'm not. Confrontation in a public place could be seen as harassment. If there's a scene, it won't help your case. What if I just observe? Take photos of them together. That's just documentation, right? Rick was quiet for a long moment. If you happen to be in a public establishment and you observe your wife with another man and you choose to document what you see, that's not illegal. But I'm advising you as your attorney that confrontation tonight could complicate things. Noted, he sighed. Where are they actually meeting? No idea. She lied about the restaurant. I pulled up my phone again, opened the message thread with Emily. But I've got a plan for that. At 3:47 p.m., I was parked outside Westfield Marketing Solutions' downtown office, 3 spaces down from Emily's Lexus. I'd told the crew I was meeting with a potential client, left Danny in charge of the Maple Street site. My phone sat in the cup holder, location sharing turned off. Employees started trickling out around 4:30. I recognized a few faces from company events, the annual summer barbecue, last year's holiday party where Emily had won the raffle for a wine club membership. Back when I'd thought her biggest vice was overpriced Pinot Noir. Derek Garrison emerged at 5:15. I'd seen photos on the company website, but they didn't quite capture the reality. Tall, maybe 6'2", with the kind of silver fox thing that probably played well in boardrooms. Expensive suit, expensive watch, expensive haircut. He walked like he owned the sidewalk. He got into a black Mercedes S-Class, and I memorized the plate number out of habit. When he pulled out, heading west on 4th, I didn't follow. He wasn't my target yet. Emily came out at 6:20, moving fast, phone pressed to her ear. Even from this distance, I could see the smile, the one that used to be mine. She drove north, and I gave her a 3-car buffer, staying back far enough that she wouldn't notice my truck in her rear view. The route was familiar at first, toward home, but then she turned east on Riverside, away from our neighborhood. My phone buzzed. Tyler. Mom says you're picking me up? I typed back, yep, practice ends at 8, right? 7:45 today. Coach has a thing. I checked the clock. 6:34. Plenty of time. Emily's Lexus turned into the parking lot of the Sheraton on East Avenue. Not a restaurant, a hotel. The cold weight in my stomach turned to something harder, sharper. I parked in the back row, watched her cross the lot. She'd changed clothes. The navy suit was gone, replaced by a black dress I'd never seen before. She'd had an outfit in her car, pre-planned. She disappeared into the lobby. I sat there, engine running, hands gripping the steering wheel hard enough that my knuckles went white. Rick's warning echoed in my head. Confrontation tonight could complicate things. But so could letting her think she'd gotten away with it. The Mercedes pulled in at 6:51. Derek got out, looked around the parking lot with the casual arrogance of someone who'd done this before, and headed inside. I gave them 10 minutes. Long enough to get to whatever room they'd booked. Long enough for Emily to feel safe. Then I pulled out my phone and opened our text thread. "Change of plans," I typed. "Finished early. Want to surprise you at dinner?" What was the name of that place again? I watched the 3 dots appear. Disappear. Appear again. "Actually running really late. Don't wait up. Love you." Love you, with a heart emoji. While she was in a hotel room with her boss. I took a screenshot, added it to the folder. Then I texted Tyler, "On my way, buddy. Be there at 7:30. I had 45 minutes. Enough time to make a stop. I sat in the Tahoe, watching the hotel entrance through the light drizzle that had started falling. The digital clock on the dash read 7:23 p.m. Tyler's practice ended at 8. I had time. My phone buzzed. Emily's reply, "Almost done here. Sorry, babe. These clients are so demanding. Should be wrapping up soon. Don't wait up if you're tired." XO. The ease of her lies was what gutted me. Not just that she lied, but how good she'd gotten at it. How practiced. This wasn't her first time crafting a cover story while Derek was probably in the shower 6 floors above me. I forwarded her message to Rick with a single line. "Still maintaining the client dinner fiction. At hotel now. What's my move?" His response came within 30 seconds. "Leave. Do not engage. You have everything you need. Confrontation only hurts your position. Trust me on this." I stared at his message. The lawyer was right. I knew he was right. But sitting in this parking lot while my wife was upstairs with another man felt like swallowing glass. My phone buzzed again. "Rick." "Jordan, I mean it. Walk away. Pick up your son. Be the stable parent. That's what wins." I started the engine. Then I saw them. The hotel's side entrance opened, and Emily emerged first, looking around the parking lot with that careful surveillance people do when they're trying not to be seen. She'd changed clothes. The navy suit from this morning was gone, replaced by jeans and a cream-colored sweater I'd bought her for Christmas. Her hair was different too, down instead of up, still damp. Derek followed 10 seconds later, keeping distance between them, phone pressed to his ear in that universal mime of plausible deniability. He was exactly what I'd pictured from his corporate headshot on the Westfield website. Tall, fit, expensive haircut, the kind of guy who wore a sport coat to casual dinners. They walked to separate cars, Emily to her Lexus, Derek to a black Audi. Professional colleagues leaving a business meeting at completely different times. Nothing to see here. I slumped lower in my seat as Emily's headlights swept past. She pulled onto the main road heading west, toward home. Derek went east. My phone, Rick again. "Leaving now," I typed back. "They just left separately. She's heading home." "Good. Stay course. File Monday." I pulled out of the lot and headed toward the soccer fields, my hands steady on the wheel despite the white noise screaming in my head. The windshield wipers beat a rhythm that matched my pulse. Tyler was waiting under the awning when I pulled up at 8:04, his gear bag slung over one shoulder, hair plastered to his forehead from the rain. He threw his stuff in the back and climbed in, bringing the smell of wet grass and adolescent sweat. "How was practice?" I asked, and my voice sounded normal. "That was something. Coach made us run suicides in the rain. Said it builds character. He grabbed his water bottle. Mom home? Not yet. Work thing ran late. She's always working late now. He said it without judgment, just observation. Kids notice everything. We stopped at the In-N-Out on Magnolia, our Tuesday tradition when Emily worked late, which, I now understood, had been happening a lot more frequently over the past few months. Tyler ordered a double-double and fries. I got a coffee I didn't want. You okay, Dad? Tyler asked around a mouthful of burger. You seem weird. Long day, big project deadline. The lies were contagious, apparently. He accepted this and launched into a detailed breakdown of some soccer drama involving positions and playing time. I made the right noises, asked the right questions, and felt like I was piloting my body from somewhere far away. We got home at 8:47. Emily's Lexus was in the garage, which meant she'd beaten us by maybe 15 minutes. Enough time to change back into her work clothes and construct whatever scene she wanted me to find. She was at the kitchen island with her laptop when we walked in, still in the cream sweater. So she decided to commit to the casual look, probably planning to say she'd changed at the restaurant because she'd spilled something. Hey guys. Her smile was bright, practiced. How was practice, Ty? Wet. He grabbed a Gatorade from the fridge. I'm gonna shower. He thundered upstairs, leaving us alone. How was your dinner? I asked, setting my keys on the counter. Oh, long, tedious. She closed her laptop. The clients wanted to go over every detail of the campaign. We were at Fleming's for almost 3 hours. Fleming's, a specific detail. That was new. Which one? She blinked. What? Which Fleming's? The one in Corona or the one by the mall? Corona. No hesitation. Why? I shrugged. Just wondering if it was close by. I was thinking about taking a client there next week. Oh, yeah, it's nice. She stood, stretching. I'm exhausted. Think I'm going to take a bath and turn in early. She walked past me, and I caught the scent of hotel soap, that generic, vaguely floral smell that's the same in every mid-range chain. Not the lavender body wash she kept in our shower. Not the perfume she'd worn this morning. Em? She turned at the stairs. Yeah? I love you. Something flickered across her face. Guilt, maybe, or fear, or just exhaustion from maintaining the performance. Love you too. I listened to her footsteps on the stairs, the bathroom door closing, the water starting to run. Then I opened my laptop and started going through our finances. Rick had been clear about what I needed: documentation, assets, timeline. I pulled up our bank statements, credit card records, her calendar that synced to the family account. Started building a spreadsheet. The credit card charges told their own story once you knew what to look for. The Riverside Marriott charged to her card on nights she'd claimed to be at late meetings. The Flemings in Corona, she'd actually been there, but 3 weeks ago, not tonight. Recycling alibis. Getting sloppy. A charge from Victoria's Secret 2 months ago, $347. I'd never seen whatever she'd bought. Flowers sent to D. Garrison, Westfield Marketing Solutions from her card on his birthday. I'd cross-referenced that one with his LinkedIn profile. It was all there. A breadcrumb trail of betrayal, itemized and categorized by Visa. I heard the bathwater stop, then start again as she added more hot water. She'd be up there for at least another 30 minutes. That was her pattern. Long baths when she was stressed. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Rick, using personal phone. You doing okay? Compiling financials, I typed back. She lied about where she had dinner. Hotel soap smell. Getting sloppy. Good. Keep documenting. Don't engage. See you Monday, 9 a.m. to file. Monday, 3 days away. I could do 3 days. Tyler came downstairs in sweats, hair wet, and settled onto the couch with his phone. Normal Tuesday night. Homework done during study hall, Practice completed. Now the sacred evening phone time before bed. "Where's Mom?" he asked without looking up. "Bath." "Cool." This was my life now. Maintaining normal while everything underneath dissolved. Smiling at my son while upstairs my wife washed away evidence of her affair. Planning breakfast while my lawyer drafted divorce papers. I added another line to the spreadsheet. Hotel charges, dates, amounts. My phone buzzed again. Emily from upstairs. "Can you bring me a glass of wine? White, from the fridge?" I stared at the message, the audacity of it, the casual entitlement. I poured the wine, carried it upstairs, knocked on the bathroom door. "Come in," she called. She was in the tub, bubbles up to her shoulders, hair piled on top of her head. She smiled when I handed her the glass. "Thanks, babe. You're the best." "No problem." Her phone sat on the counter, face down. I wondered if Derek was texting her, if they were laughing about how easy this all was. "You seem tense," she said, sipping the wine. "Everything okay with the Riverside project?" The Riverside project. A detail from my work she'd actually remembered. That was almost worse. That she could still perform the role of attentive wife while actively destroying our marriage. "Just the usual deadline stress," I said. "Nothing major." "Well, don't work too late. Come to bed soon?" "Yeah, soon." I left her there and went back downstairs, back to my spreadsheet, back to documenting the end of my marriage in 12-point font and color-coded columns. 3 days until Monday. I could do 3 days. The conference room at Paulson & Associates smelled like leather and old coffee. I sat across from Rick, my phone face down on the mahogany table between us, and watched him flip through the printed screenshots I'd compiled. "You've been thorough," he said, adjusting his reading glasses. Text messages, credit card statements, photographic evidence of her entering the hotel. This establishes a clear pattern of deception. What happens next? My voice sounded steadier than I felt. Rick leaned back in his chair. "California is a no-fault state, which means the affair itself won't affect the divorce proceedings. However, this documentation will be crucial for other aspects: custody arrangements, asset division, spousal support." I nodded. Madison would be 18 in 6 months, heading to UC San Diego in the fall. Tyler was 14. The kids. Joint custody is standard, but we can argue for primary physical custody based on stability and her demonstrated dishonesty. A parent who lies to their spouse will lie to their children. He tapped the hotel photos. The affair with a superior also raises questions about judgment. She works for Derek. He's VP of Operations. Rick's eyebrows lifted. Direct supervisor? Yes. That's potentially actionable. Most companies have policies against supervisor-subordinate relationships. Creates liability issues, favoritism claims, hostile work environment, sexual harassment. He made a note. We'll keep that in reserve. Sometimes the threat of professional consequences encourages more cooperative negotiations. The idea of weaponizing Emily's career made my stomach turn, but I pushed the feeling aside. She'd made her choices. Timeline-wise, Rick continued, I'll draft the petition today. You can file as early as Wednesday. She'll be served within 72 hours of filing. Served? A process server will deliver the divorce papers to her directly. At home, at work, wherever we can locate her. He studied my face. It's not pleasant, but it makes everything official. I imagined Emily's expression when some stranger handed her legal documents. The shock, the panic. Part of me wanted to be there to see it. Part of me never wanted to see her face again. What about the house? Marital property, purchased during the marriage? 8 years ago. Then it's community property, subject to equal division unless we can argue otherwise. Your construction business complicates things. We'll need a forensic accountant to establish its value and determine what portion, if any, was built using marital assets versus your pre-marriage capital. The business. I'd started Thompson Construction 6 months before meeting Emily, working out of a rented garage with one employee. Now we had contracts across 3 counties and 22 people on payroll. The thought of her getting half made my jaw clench. She never worked for the company, I said. Never contributed anything beyond general spousal support. We'll make that argument, but California law presumes equal contribution to marital assets, regardless of who earned what. Her domestic contributions, raising children, maintaining the household, count as economic contribution. Rick softened his tone. I know it doesn't feel fair, but we work within the system we have. I stared at the conference table's wood grain, tracing the patterns with my eyes. How long does this take? Minimum 6 months from filing to finalization. That's California's mandatory waiting period. With contested assets in custody, realistically, we're looking at 12 to 18 months. A year. Maybe more. A year of lawyers and depositions and dividing up everything we'd built. A year of coordinating schedules and negotiating who got the kids for Thanksgiving. One more thing, Rick said. I need to ask. Have you confronted her yet? No. Good. Don't. He leaned forward. I know every instinct is telling you to have it out with her, demand answers, make her explain herself. But anything you say can and will be used against you in these proceedings. Accusations of abuse, threats, intimidation. People get creative when they're cornered. I'm not going to threaten her. I believe you. But emotions run high. A raised voice becomes screaming. Blocking a doorway becomes preventing her from leaving. I've seen good people lose custody because they couldn't control their anger during one conversation. He held my gaze. Let the papers do the talking. Stay calm, stay documented, stay strategic. Strategic. Like this was a business deal instead of the end of my marriage. We spent another 40 minutes reviewing financials, bank accounts, retirement funds, Emily's stock options from Westfield. Rick explained terms like discovery and deposition, walked me through what to expect when Emily hired her own attorney, discussed whether mediation might be possible. Given the circumstances, he said, I doubt she'll be eager for a collaborative process. Mediation requires good faith on both sides. I thought about Emily texting me, "Love you," while Derek Garrison's cologne was still on her skin. Good faith. Right. By 3:30, I was back in my truck, Rick's business card in my wallet, and a retainer agreement signed. $5,000 down, with more to come. The cost of untangling a life. My phone buzzed. Emily. Running late tonight, presentation prep with the regional team. Home by 9? Regional team, or Derek's hotel room. I didn't bother responding. Instead, I pulled up the photos from last night. Emily walking into the Sheraton, Derek arriving 12 minutes later, both of them leaving separately 3 hours apart. The timestamps were damning. 7:43 p.m. to 10:51 p.m., while she'd texted me about client dinners and quarterly reports. Another text. Jordan, everything okay? The audacity. Checking in like a concerned wife while planning her next lie. I typed, fine, busy day, see you tonight. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then, love you. I locked my phone and started the engine. Tyler had soccer practice until 6. Madison was studying at her friend's house. I sat in my home office, staring at spreadsheets without seeing them, listening to the house settle around me. Every creak felt like accusation. Every shadow held questions. The doorbell rang at 5:47 p.m. I wasn't expecting anyone. Through the frosted glass, I could see a male silhouette. Tall, broad-shouldered. My hand hesitated on the doorknob. When I opened it, I found myself looking at a guy about my age, wearing a Bills jersey and holding a six-pack of Labatt Blue. "Jordan Thompson?" he asked. "Yeah?" "Name's Kevin Brennan. I work with your wife at Westfield." He shifted uncomfortably. "Listen, this is weird as hell, but I think we need to talk." My pulse kicked up. "About?" Kevin glanced over his shoulder at the empty street, then back at me. "About Emily and Derek Garrison. About what I saw last Friday night at McNally's bar on Elmwood." I stepped aside. "Come in." We sat in the living room, Kevin perched on the edge of the couch like he might bolt any second. He cracked open a beer without asking, took a long pull, then set it on the coffee table. "I don't know you," he started. "Don't really know Emily either. She's regional. I'm just a sales rep out of the Buffalo office. But I was at McNally's last Friday around midnight, and I saw her there." "She told me she was at a conference in Buffalo," I said quietly, "staying at the Hyatt downtown." "She was at McNally's, with Derek." Kevin pulled out his phone, swiped a few times, then turned the screen toward me. The photo was blurry, taken from across a dimly lit bar, but unmistakable. Emily in Derek's arms on a small dance floor, her head on his shoulder, his hands on her waist. She wore the blue dress she'd packed for the conference. The timestamp read 11:43 p.m. "They were there for at least an hour before I left," Kevin said. "Dancing, drinking, all over each other. I thought about minding my own business, but..." He rubbed his face. "My ex-wife did the same thing to me. Had the whole office knowing before I did. If someone had told me, maybe I could have..." He stopped. "Anyway, I asked around, found out where you lived. Figured you deserved to know." I stared at the photo. Emily's expression was relaxed, happy, the way she used to look at me. "Can you send me that?" My voice came out rough. "Already did. Use the contact info from Westfield's directory." Kevin stood. "Look, I don't want to get involved in whatever happens next, but if you need someone to verify what I saw, for lawyers or whatever, I'll do it. Nobody should have to go through this alone." The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday, 18 months after I'd found those first text messages. Emily fought everything: custody, assets, the house. Her attorney painted me as controlling, vindictive, weaponizing her affair to destroy her career. My attorney presented the credit card statements, the hotel records, Kevin Brennan's testimony about McNally's bar. In the end, the judge was unmoved by Emily's tears. California might be no fault, but patterns of deception matter when determining custody and credibility. I got primary physical custody of Tyler. Madison was already at UC San Diego by then, old enough to choose her own relationship with her mother. She chose carefully: occasional dinners, monthly phone calls, the polite distance of someone who'd watched their parent lie and wasn't ready to forget. The house was sold, equity split down the middle. My construction business remained mine. The forensic accountant proved I'd built it substantially before marriage, and Emily's contributions didn't justify community property claims. She kept her retirement accounts. I kept mine. Emily kept her job, surprisingly. Westfield's HR investigation found policy violations, but Derek Garrison resigned before they could terminate him, taking a VP position in Atlanta. Emily followed him there 6 months later, accepting a demotion to senior manager. Last I heard, his wife had also divorced him. They'd moved in together somewhere in Buckhead, two people who'd blown up their families for what I hoped was spectacular misery. But I didn't spend much time thinking about them anymore. Tyler graduated high school last spring. He's at Arizona State now, studying sports management, still playing soccer. We talk twice a week. He sees Emily during holidays, maintains the relationship with the careful diplomacy of someone who learned too young that parents are fallible. Madison finished her degree in biochemistry, got engaged to a decent guy she met in grad school. She asked me to walk her down the aisle. She invited Emily to the wedding. They're working on rebuilding something, and I'm glad for it. Kids shouldn't have to choose. I sold Thompson Construction 2 years ago to a regional firm, stayed on as a consultant. The money let me do something I'd always wanted, started a nonprofit teaching construction trades to at-risk youth. Turns out watching kids learn to build something with their hands, seeing them gain confidence and skills and hope, fill spaces I didn't know were empty. I dated some. Nothing serious. Trust doesn't rebuild overnight, and I'm not sure I'm ready to hand someone that kind of power over my life again. Maybe someday. Maybe not. I'm okay either way. The house I bought after the divorce is smaller, overlooking the Santa Ana River, with a workshop in the garage where I build furniture on weekends. Tyler's room is ready whenever he visits. Madison's too. It's not the life I planned, but it's mine, built on honest foundations. Sometimes I think about that night. The champagne cork hitting the ceiling, Emily's phone clattering to the floor, the moment I knew. I think about the man I was then, standing in his kitchen with a smile locked on his face and a marriage dissolving beneath his feet. I don't miss him. He was too willing to ignore his instincts, too invested in preserving comfort over confronting truth. The thing about betrayal is that it teaches you what you're made of. Not in the moment of discovery, that's just shock and pain. But in the months after, when you have to decide who you're going to be. Whether you'll let it make you bitter or build you stronger. I chose stronger. For my kids. For myself. There's no wisdom in what Emily did, no lesson except that people are capable of extraordinary selfishness when they convince themselves they deserve it. She wanted excitement, validation, escape from the ordinary work of marriage. She got it, and it cost her everything that mattered. But here's what I learned. You can't control other people's choices. You can only control your response. You can let their betrayal define you, or you can define yourself in spite of it. I built a business from nothing once. Built a family, a home, a life. When it fell apart, I learned I could build again. Different blueprints, stronger materials, better foundations. The scars are still there, probably always will be. But they're proof I survived, that I chose to keep building instead of burning it all down. That's enough. On Saturday mornings, I make coffee in my small kitchen and watch the sun come up over the river. Sometimes Tyler calls to talk about his game schedule or his classes. Sometimes Madison sends pictures of wedding planning chaos. Sometimes it's just me and the quiet, and that's okay too. I'm not the man who stood in his living room 18 months ago, champagne glass in hand, marriage crumbling while he smiled. That man believed love meant never questioning, trust meant never verifying, commitment meant enduring anything. I know better now. Love without honesty is just performance. Trust without truth is just willful blindness. Commitment means choosing someone who chooses you back, every day, in ways both big and small. Emily didn't choose me. She chose easy over hard, new over familiar, fantasy over reality. I chose my kids. Chose myself. Chose the hard work of rebuilding instead of the bitter comfort of staying broken. The life I have now isn't the one I planned. But it's honest, and it's mine. And some mornings, most mornings, that feels like victory enough.